What's going on, everyone? Goddrifter here, and welcome back to another live stream. So this is gonna be my first ever episode of doing the Storyteller variant version known as Deities. Now, before I get started, let me just do this, which is going to turn messages, spectator comments, and there we go. Anyway, so usually how this works is the fact that one, I'm not playing the game at all. Like, I'm not playing the game, period. So literally, it's gonna be computer versus computer, um, and it's unlimited 3 rounds, and it has an unlimited timer. And the CPU's difficulty is at normal. Um, so in terms of what I'm gonna be telling you guys the story of, it's literally. Most likely, this is usually the type of thing I want
Welcome
to
to
do.
the stage of history.
Now, I was wondering, this is why I might. It's like literally, what if, and I mean, what if? Uh, Now, here's the thing. What happens when you have mixture of Bleach, Persona, Ruby, as well as a bit of Harry Potter there and there. Uh, you get, well, this is what I'm about to tell you guys. Um, so also a bit of warning: everything that I told you guys is fictional. The Deities is so Deities is a storytelling platform that I actually wanted to do for some time now, and most likely the names, places, as well as other events are coincidental. Um, Also, there's gonna be some graphic moments in the story, so read the description advised. With that out of the way, it's time to talk. Now, here's how I'm gonna do things. Usually, I'm going to spend at least 30 minutes telling you on how the story will go, if it was probably the case. So, yeah. Without further ado, Deities time. So, before I before I even bother going into the story, let me just drink a bottle of water real quick. So that way I can actually tell you guys without we'll need a break or two. So literally every 30, well, yeah, every 30 minutes gonna talk about a different chapter, but it's gonna be a 5 minute break. So yeah, there's that, and then continue on with another 30 minutes, and then in the live stream. So um, there's that. Oof, excuse me. And also, for the sake of everyone, if you want to do questions, leave it on the comments down below after the stream is finished. So, anywho, without further ado, let's get started. Prologue. Welcome to a ward, a place where more than likely the some of the people may or
Soul
may
of
not know.
Ro.
I can take you.
Um, and not to mention, um, what was that? Wondering, award is a Academy of. Oh, jeez. Okay. It is an Academy of. It's an Academy of Weapons as well as it's an Academy of Weapons, weapons and regal deities. So basically, more than likely, it is a school that
Soul of
actually
Zasalamel.
instead of
Die.
So 4 years of going to a high school, it's approximately 6 years, due to the fact that around this time, um, around this time, up time, according to the headmaster of the school, unfortunately due to the fact that a lot of high school students graduated in the age of 18 and wasn't ready for college. Uh, the headmaster has dedicated to their livelihood just so that they added an extra 2 years so that way they can be ready for college. Especially for those that actually want to go to college but does not know how to go do things about it. So, what this academy teaches? Well, quite obviously, right? They teach a lot of more than likely plenty, and I mean plenty of subjects, ranging from English, history, math, science, PE,
Everything that lives
as well
is
as
designed to end.
I can't run away.
extracurricular activities such as
Your time has come.
participating in a school club
Battle
or
one.
do a classic.
I can do it.
Before I do anything else, let me turn down the turn down the volume real quick so that way I can actually speak through without like literally the loudest voice in the entirety of the game just barking orders at me like god dang. Oh no wonder.
Battle.
The wait is over. The wait.
Okay, there we go. All right. Anyway, um. I'll go and continue on. So, anyway, now, what are
Welcome
these?
to the
So,
stage
what
of
is?
history
So, we know
retold.
what the award stands for, but in terms of what it actually means, though, is the really big question entirely. Like, what, what are deities to be exact? Well, long story short, deities are more than likely, um, most do not know, it's kind of like their persona or demon per se. Well, it depends on what they're aligned to. So most likely in this story, deities aren't just no ordinary like spirits of anything. In fact, they're pretty much how a lot of people build up their personality. Um, let's say, for example, we have Anubis, who is the god of the dead, and as well as funerals, and the and let's see, also protector of the dead, and uh, the guide to the afterlife, basically.
Everything that lives is
So, for the most
designed.
evil, he's not even good. He's neutral. Anyway,
Your time has come.
anyways,
One.
these deities
I can do it.
go by 9 classes: lawful good, lawful neutral, lawful evil, neutral, chaotic neutral, lawful evil, chaotic evil. So, uh, yeah, you something like that always goes on.
Victory goes to the last one standing.
What was I saying? Oh yeah,
Battle two.
the way that the way that actually happens is, well, a long time ago, there was a surge of deities just broke out of nowhere. In fact, there was a random explosion in one of the islands of the Japanese branch that actually uh, came out and came out with no intention of affecting anyone with a lot of deities, which,
Stand
well, more than
until
likely
the
that's
last
what the
one.
U.S. also has. Well, long story short, the entirety of the population actually was dealing with this deities problem, and with that, the deities actually makes up of a soul that, depending on what shape it is, well, basically being recognizable. One of these are the death gods of every region: Anubis, Mot, Thanatos, Uh, you name it, each each and every single one of them has it. Um, so yeah, for the most part, it is basically a interesting uh, dilemma of how things actually work.
Claim victory and bask in the glory.
Though it probably would actually upset the system. It actually also teaches these students how to actually control their deities without actually causing a full-on, um, well, obviously without having caused a full-on rackets, to say the least. Now the founder of this school,
Welcome
Headmaster
to the stage of history.
Yakishiba,
Retold.
was born around the 1800s, and he is still the headmaster to this day, being over 100 years old. So, a bit of context, Yakishiba has been, um, let's see, he has been headmaster since Lincoln was president. So, literally, he's literally over 100 years old. But he's still alive and kicking for some reason, and that is because he has a deity known as Odin, a Norse mythology god of all gods, basically. Or, well, he's the father of all gods, obviously. But for the most part, it is um, by far the most
Soul of
interesting of them all.
Zazzle.
Come, let's be off.
Now, what was I?
Soul
Oh yeah.
of Shangwa.
Um,
I'll give you a challenge.
basically, it's one thing to have a lot of things happen, but there are other things that can actually still go on without any consequences. Now, in terms of depending on
In a
what kind
cursed
of god
castle
it is,
hall, warriors dance in the
Nick can
masquerade
either
of death.
enhance your life along with
You wish
strength,
to fight me?
enhance your life and actually have a lot of
Trust me,
defense,
you won't be disappointed.
or they enhance your speed as well as your well, basically every single major god literally expands your life for amount of years that they actually had. All right, let me check. Let's see. That's not it. Oh, okay.
Battle 2. Fight.
Amateur.
Okay, just checking. Anyway, so anyways, one of the most let's see, one of the most really, and I mean really, really bad situations actually happened in a, in around the European branch, where three major
Goes to the last
major
one
gods
standing.
of the underworld actually in cells. In fact, there's three of them, and then there's the big evil bad guy, obviously, or the big bad evil big bad evil guy, basically. So with Norse with Europe, there's Loki. With
He sees.
Battle 4. Fight.
with let's see. Let's see, yeah, with Europe is Loki, with the US is Hades, and last but certainly not least, um, in terms of the Japanese, uh, yeah, we have we have the Norse goddess of the underworld, known as
Show
Hel.
respect for the
And
people who
then,
fought so bravely.
um,
Another pest exterminated.
and then in terms of who are the boss of all three gods, it's never known. In fact, by the time everything was dealt with, everything seems to vanish. And the along with along with them, fragments of each and every single god has in has ensued the entirety of the world. So, long
Welcome
story
to the
short,
stage of history retold.
the only the only rare type of person is usually a normal one, which also entitles on how everything actually um, gets to the majority of what they usually have.
Soul of Cassandra.
You seek your own demise.
Soul of Taki. I'm ready for this. Soul of
Okay, I remember now.
No
So,
one can best me.
so along with many others, um, yes, along with many other deities, there are also certain mythological creatures that also actually has souls that resides within a person. Um, so, for example, Suzaku, the vermilion bird of the south, is said to such spirit. And more than likely,
the
there
fight
probably
to
are
realize your ideals shall
there
never
are
end.
one of many things that
Let's go.
can actually go wrong with something like this.
Fine, I'll play with you.
Obviously they don't know how to control these animal instincts, but somehow they usually get through it without actually having a lot of problems. It's time to meet the main character, aka Zach Goldspear, a student in the student resides of Beverly Hills, California. That usually goes to a modern high school that doesn't even have a uniform.
Victory will not come
And
easily. It must be seized.
well, long story short, he's a city kid, and he literally just turned 15 until he's 15 when all of a sudden he was called to the office. He didn't know why, but he doesn't know how everything is gonna go. Due to the fact that he didn't do anything. Well, for the most part, it was a random call. Well, long story short, that random call turns out to be not only because the principal called for him, but a certain headmaster
Victory will not come
actually wanted to speak to him about the school that he wants him to attend, because he knows what, because he knows what deity was within Zack. So, more likely, on his way to the principal office, he wonders why would he call me. Why did he call me out out of everyone? I didn't do anything. Like there are a lot of I mean a lot of not a lot of violence per se, but he has done nothing wrong. Like there are muggings. There were even there are even missing
Play the
people
victory
that
and
has been
bask
found.
in the glory.
But he, but of all the people that had that the principal called, he called me for some odd reason. And once he got to the office, It's like once they got to the office, the the student aide of what's his name? The most likely the desk assistant actually was happy for him because most likely she knows what Zach doesn't. And
Welcome to the stage of history.
actually, we're just gonna call her for now. Just gonna call her student with glasses. And she told him that, oh, you didn't know? Headmaster actually wanted to talk to you. And Zach was still wondering which headmaster could have called him out of the blue right in the middle of class. So for the most part, he got into the principal's office and finds not only his own principal, but the headmaster of a ward himself, along with his um, along with the vice chairman of the school, vice chairman 16. No, no, that's not. It's, um, okay, so yeah, that okay. Keep in mind, for those wondering how it's spelled, it's Sixtine. That's basically how that works. Basically how it's been spelled. Anyway,
Soul of Aswell.
Allow me to teach you.
so yeah, long story short, it is
Soul of Voldo.
Good choice.
so most likely what Zach saw was a blonde woman with makeup and well a pair of really smart glasses. Along with that, she has some really fancy looking gloves and a birthmark that is on her upper lip. The headmaster, on the other hand, is much more fancy, as in he is wearing a tailored suit, really nice shoes, and has a monocle
Warriors cross swords beneath
over
the
his right
gaze of the
eye.
ancient gods.
I can see the fear in your eyes.
Are you a glutton for punishment?
Battle 1. Fight!
So yeah, for the most part, it's pretty much it's the thing to go for when it is. And we're gonna say
Victory goes to the last one standing.
here's the fact that his tie actually says it all. That uh the school that he had produced is it is actually has been indeed the award, the School of Award, the Academy of and Re- Weapons and Regal Deities. So, so out of all things to actually consider, it is by far the most not only is one of the most famous schools to get to, but it is one of the hardest. And more likely there are three ways to go about it. It is it is either you must have a lineage, you must come from a lineage, wealth, and or you have to be sought out by the headmaster himself. Now, I was wondering what the headmaster actually, what the knows what deity is within Zack. It was Anubis, the god of the dead, that more than likely helped helped a little kid when he was released, and he protected him from a lot of gunfire and violence. Due to the fact that around the 1990s, LA riots break out, and and yeah, it was within and yeah, it was within the father of it was in the father of one at the time, and so figuratively and literally, um, and was wondering, no, that was not Zach. That was Zach's older brother. Um, said, for the most part, those do not know, Zach is actually half African American, half Japanese student that actually learns English first, then Japanese second. What's the reason? Who knows? So long story short, he's Blasian. That's just basically how I can say it. It's like he's figuratively and literally Blasian. But around the time it is a around the time each and every single type of person usually that actually has a deity may or may not notice the changes that they went through. For example, they look into their own mythology and usually just flat sounds like, okay, I can just check on something, I'll be right back, don't follow me. It's like, okay, we're good. Anyway, okay, so of all the things that all the things that they usually have that can possibly be very interesting to say the least.
Let's cut loose.
Um, basically, it's like, okay, so we have a lot of, and this is what the headmaster says to Zach. Hello, you must be Zach Goldspear. Zach, really confused, saying, Principal, what is going on here? Why in the world did you call me in the middle of class? That I want, that actually could be important. And the principal's like, okay, will you please be quiet for a moment? Yes. This is Zach Goldspear. He has been our star student for the last 3 years. Like, 3 years to say? Or do you mean 2? It's like, what are you talking about? It's like, well, according to your database, he just got to this high school not too long ago. Zach is like, okay, do you not realize that I'm actually, like, literally just turned 15 this year? Keep in mind, this was 2014. And, yeah, basically it is it is more than likely a scenario of how things actually got them to, do what's necessary to actually get things going. Um, so another thing that he's confused about is the fact that not only there's a headmaster, but there's also the vice chairman of the school that that's been watching the schoolgirls for the past 15 years. Shoot, I was gonna say. Oh yeah. Basically, it is it's not just an island, of course. It's not also just not a school. It's a port. Well, long story short, it's a port island that has basically everyone's necessity of not only school but living quarters as well as entertainment. So, literally things such as a game stores or malls or even a school dormitory, or if actually they don't want to live in the dorms, they can actually set up with other necessities on how they actually make their money. Um, shoot, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Um, well, although it may actually no sense, it is still a very big deal when it comes to what school that he's going to attend. Now, more than likely, unlike your average school, this school actually, this is what the headmaster says. Unlike your average school, which usually goes into 4 years, the school that you're going to attend to is going to be around 6 years. So, more than likely, likely when it comes to when it comes to their literal, uh, well, literally, once they turn 18, they usually are adult, and yes, they're still adults. But when it comes to the Award Academy, you probably will properly be ready for college. Zach asks, okay, why is that, Headmaster? So to put it simply, I try to at least get, I'm trying to at least the give students on the new generation a chance, so that way they can actually know what kind of, basically, depending on what kind of stuff you teach. Um, though it actually makes a lot of sense, it still doesn't make sense on why in the world would you call me anyway? And it is to put and this and the principal just says, "Do you want me to spell it for you?" Zach's like, "Yes, please," because I really confused right now. And more than likely, he says, because more than likely it's an opportunity to actually uh, get yourself out there,
Welcome to the stage of history retold.
and be who you want to be. Don't let anything stop you. It's like, okay, I probably should go to the school if they ask me to. So anyway, so along with this, all this information, um,
I'm not running.
all this information, he was given a choice of either go and go into this new school without anyone that he knew, or as he says that he might run into a few people that he might knew from the previous schools he went to. Um,
The tragic fall of the
but
cherry
it is
blossom
interesting
magnifies its
how
beauty, as with
many
life.
students there were that have its not just
Fine, I'll fight.
been sent out for the most part, being
I can do it.
a bit more interested in what the average student has. But it is pretty interesting to say the least.
Damn you. I can do it.
Now, unlike the average high school, the academy actually uses uniforms. Depending on how you actually get to the school, or depending on the color uniform. For example, if it's sought by the academy's headmaster himself, you will probably have to wear red. If it's wealth, then you have to wear gold. If it's lineage, then you have to wear blue. But still, they're basically the same. They're basically the same students of their school. But the thing is, what kind of what kind of students it will be is depending on how things are going to go. So yeah, long story short, is kind of like that for the most part. Um, now, okay, let's see the timing. Um, oh, okay. So let me take a break for it, and then I'll go be starting chapter 1. Oh, excuse me. All right. Hmm. Okay, so around 2 minutes, I'm going to restart, not restart. I'm going to start chapter 1. So, um, there's basically that. Okay, so like at least a couple of seconds.
Welcome to the stage of history retold. Soul of Hasbro. Soul of Mitsurugi.
I can already taste victory.
Alright, so it's time for me to start chapter 1. While on the
A single
plane
slash can travel in
to
the
in
frozen
this
air
school that he's going to
into
attend, keep in mind this was a year later.
Ready to fight?
Now, a deity asks them, what is this going like? Zack says, to actually earn an honest living, get a wife, have a couple of kids, you know, the usual type of things that a lot of people will like to do. And the deity's like, seriously? Just get married, have a wife and kids? It's like, yeah. But for some reason, I don't. For some reason, why does it tell me that you're going to be doing something that will render me from actually getting to there? It's like, well, cause I'm your deity, and it's actually it is my, and it is actually my job to protect you. Mr. Gold Spear. Wait, how do you know my name? Zack says. Let's see, that is a good question. And all of a sudden, well, he says something was like, sweetheart, you need to get up. You're almost done on the flight. What? What do you wake up? I said, wake up, and all of a sudden, Zack walks up to a airport, screaming, um, air attendee, saying, "Will you just wake up, you stupid, you stupid a-hole?" It's like, whoa, hold on, lady, I don't know what's wrong. It's like, sorry, it's been a day. It's like, don't worry, we all been there, and we dealt with it quite more than others. For example, some people do yoga, some people play violent video games, but it just depends on how you deal with things. It's like, don't worry, it's fine. Oh, and Zack says like, okay, so uh, also while you're saying, he's like, oh, that's right.
Is that all?
Oh, that's right. I forgot to tell you. Um, yeah, we're almost to we're, al we're almost there to the airstrip of the school that you're gonna be attending. Zack's like, oh, okay, that's interesting to say the least. And Zack looks outside. He notices that not only there's an airstrip, but it's an entire city miles from the
Is that all?
US or US or Japanese branches of that exact school. Um, but yeah, long story short, it is by far the most gorgeous island that it has.
Too gorgeous for you?
It, yeah, yeah. Zack wasn't drunk when it was like the most beautiful looking island, as well as the most beautiful looking city out of everything else. In fact, not only that it is a port island, it's literally a port fortress. Like it is obviously a lot of, and not to mention, it is free of pollution as well as free of anything that can be, well, well, render the air quality useless to say the least. So for the most part, this legit port island fortress, it actually is the entirety of the island, and it is really, really cool. It's really cool. Okay, so if there's one thing to describe that specific school. Think of it as an entire mansion. Like difference is that instead of a mansion, it's three mansions, and these three mansions are schools. And there is a giant mansion that is right next to the school, that is the school dormitory, and then that tall mega mall, as I tall, and the big mega mall is actually where a lot of people go to places of entertainment. It actually is much more bigger than any of the Walmarts in the US. So, yeah, long story short, it's friggin' huge. Anyways, um,
Soul of Grow.
I can take you.
Soul of Talum.
Don't waste my time.
but, yeah, for the most part, it's kind of like that. Um, anyway, the plane lands, and Zack is greeted to a very interesting looking vehicle.
Everything that
That
lives
vehicle
is
being a
designed
1966
to
Lincoln Continental four-door that is
Didn't I tell
ridiculously
you no?
long. Is to the point where it is to the point where literally it is
Help you.
outfitted with limo parts, which including a isolation window, as well as an isolation shield, and literally uh, forward-looking seats.
I like your stamina.
But yeah, it's kind of like that. But the only difference being well, also the funny part is that they can get their license here, as in getting not only their not only their um not only the license to actually use their deities, but also the license to have weapons. Last but not least, also have a license to actually, well, to drive around. Because, I mean, they can't walk around in the entirety of, the academy forever. So, yeah, there's that.
Not yet. Here we go.
Victory goes to the last battle. Fight.
And uh, in fact, Zack looks out the window and is in awe of how much stuff there is in this island. And then, more than likely, a couple of minutes later, he was dropped off to the school dormitory. And he is greeted with, well, one, no lie, he is greeted by but literally, the dorm attendees that, well, basically the dormitory, representatives, which actually greets himself and literally shows Zack to his room that he's going to be living for the next 6 years.
Naughty. What's this? Somebody loves pain. How'd
Um,
that feel?
well, yeah,
I like this.
throughout the day, Zack was still in awe. Just realized that he hasn't eaten since he got off the plane. And he asked the dorm attendee, it wonders, like, does the rooms actually, is the rooms are like motels where literally there's like a bed, a kitchen, a bathroom, and everything else? And The answer is like, yes, it's kind of like a hotel, but a lot more nicer and a lot bigger. It's like, okay, that, okay, that answers my question. So, so more than likely, he's wondering when he can start school, and the dorm attendee it says, oh, okay, so, like, oh, so you're here because of the school? Like, yes. It's like, well, more than likely you can start in 2 days. Uh, it's like, wait a minute, 2 days? Like, I usually don't normally like regular school starts like tomorrow or something. Like, well, if you think about it, it's literally a Sunday and Monday is a holiday. So, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense at least. But yeah, throughout the entirety of it, it was um, more likely having a lot more he's not a lot interested in the other classes that he's gonna be attending to. But um, but yeah, once he gets in, he probably he said he he sat himself down with his luggage as well as his bag that he actually has. Um, in fact, the in fact, the room is so big it's kind of like a living room, and there's also a literal like downstairs because literally the entire dormitory is a giant mansion. So literally, each and every single dormitory actually has 2 rooms. Um, One of them being the living room, and the one being the bedroom. Depending on which one you wanted, it actually will be a bed. There'll be a bedroom upstairs, or it'll be a bedroom downstairs. And more than likely, um, there are plenty of rules that they have to follow. So, rule number one, no pets, which kind of avoided because around the time Zach actually has to leave. Uh, he was Bobby and Kitten at Kitten at his own house, where his parents actually took care of them and
I can take you.
willing to actually do what was necessary to actually give these to give majority of shoot I keep forgetting oh not remember it's like okay so literally give them the proper care that they need um until likely his owner came back and not to mention his parents actually do like his pets um and one now here's the thing the puppy happens to be a Russian Husky, and a cat is well, um, it's a black cat, but instead of green eyes, it's blue-eyed. So a blue-eyed black cat that actually does have a lot of things going for it. But yeah, there's things like that, but for the most part, it's not just that, but it's out of necessity to actually give them money spots that they can actually work for. Um, but uh, but the only time to allow pets if it's for a school assignment, to say the least, where they have to take care of some sort of like small animal because because one of the dormitories actually is allergic to dogs, and the other one's allergic to cats. So unfortunately, he can't bring both. But what they will allow him to get is a pet rabbit. So what they allow him to get is a pet rabbit, and it is by far by far the most interesting pet that he actually has adopted. Now, there's also a thing. The dormitory um, is actually gender equaled. So literally, it's like there's no boys dorm or girls dorm. This is a unisex dorm. That's basically what it is. Um, um,
Fight to your last breath.
I remember now.
Battle 4. Fight.
So for the most part, he spends his well. The first day he was dropping off by the headmaster himself to the dormitory, so that way he can actually settle in, unpack his stuff, and um, and get to know his surroundings. Because
Claim victory and bask in the glory.
especially when it comes to like having a lot of stuff going on, that actually gives him a more likely a better chance to actually get him to do as necessary as possible. Anyway, uh, once let's see, once he settled down, it was already evening, and he's wondering what
Welcome
kind
to
of
the
dinner
stage of history
like.
retold.
He's wondering, and he actually wondered if he can order pizza from one of those from that mall looking place right there, but then he realized um that by the time you actually get there, it is approximately, well, 5 o'clock, and he legit in more likely he's wondering, okay, can I call the police? Can I call the police? Can I call a pizza place so that way I can actually get some food? And it turns out that there was more than likely his favorite pizza place happens to be in that island. Um, Specifically in around the corner that he could walk to,
I'm ready to take you on.
which it's usually like 20 miles. Not 20 miles. It literally is uh, literally like 2 miles away, which actually it's perfect because like okay, it's a pizza place. I can actually work for this, and um, shoot, what was I saying? Oh yeah.
Good choice.
So yeah, it was very interesting to say the least. It had a lot of, let's say that he's wondering like how in the world do this man actually invested a lot of stuff for the school that he's able
Now,
to
the
actually
noble
invest in a lot of
wolves
things for
carve
the
their
island.
souls into their
This
swords.
is
You look
really
nice and
interesting to say
tough.
the least.
Are you
And
for punishment?
yeah, it was by far the most coolest thing um, that it was actually done. But yeah, throughout this entire time, he was still unpacking, and not to mention, uh, he's wondering if his other stuff, if his stuff is going to be around, around where he's from, because literally a lot of stuff that he has, that was in his room, aren't even there.
Victory
Like,
goes to the
no
last
joke,
one standing.
all he has is his luggage, and not to mention, he has that old school, like, yeah, it's basically old school. It is a small. It's literally a car TV on the go, basically, and he ends up playing. He ends up playing both PS2, PS3, the original Xbox, and the Xbox 360, and also Nintendo Wii on that same car TV that he actually took with. Since he's gonna be in the school for 6 years, he might as well just kept himself busy for the most part. And
Ready?
yeah, the other side of it is actually let's see, uh, he was one, let's see, he was one, okay. His stuff may not be here today, hopefully it comes tomorrow. And the other side of it, he actually just, he actually opened the door, paid for the pizza, goes back inside his room, and now keep in mind, it wasn't even like that big of a pizza. It was literally like medium sized. So more than likely he was good on 3 pizzas as well as getting unsweetened tea from the vending machine. And basically he ended up just just sleeping the night away. But around midnight, he notices that something was off. Like his body was heavier than usual, and he know he had unsweetened tea and 3 pizzas, but it should make him heavier than the average person. And he noticed a very, very sweet smell, and more than likely, uh, he felt after him, noticing that a pair of arms was around him, and more than likely turns around and turns on the light, asking, "Who in the world are you and what are you doing in my room?" And then the other person, who happens to be female, was wondering the same thing, and then he knows 2 and 2, and they put 2 together. It's like, "Are you my roommate?" And then the question's like, "Okay, hold on, what?" And he questions is like, "Okay, hold on, which one's your room again?" And now keep in mind, this will be alright, this room, you might want to remember the numbers. It was, see, the room number was 10 1, so yeah, 1086. And so yeah, like literally 1086. And then she said what was her, and then long story short, and basically yeah, it's like, okay, hold on. So it's like, okay, hold on. So um and she was wondering, wait a minute, why is my room taken out? And it's like, wait, what was your room number? And she says 1087. I was like, lady, this is 1086. And she's like, no, that can't be. That can't be. I'm in 1087. I was like, it's 1086. Take a look at the room number, and this is the key for it. Wait a minute, 1080. Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah. And then she profusely apologizes to Zach, pretty much pretty often it was to the point where it was like, okay, 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 I accept your apology. Jesus. Okay. And what is your name to be exact? So that way we don't get lost.
Soul of Grove.
I can take you.
And most likely her
Soul
name
of
is Mina. And so yeah, and Mina is the niece of the vice chairman that you were introduced. Well, he was introduced when he was still going to his own high school, and
Soul of
and then the next
Grove.
day he found and most likely tells him to leave. Tells her to leave. Then okay, yeah, tells him to leave, and that's tells him. Zach tells her to leave, closes the door, and then he hears another door open, and asks, "Is this 1087?" And once there's like, "This is 1085. You're literally a room right by 1086." Oh, okay. And God gets into her own room and finally slaps it off. And alright, on to the next day. The next day, he finally got all his stuff from DOS to, well, the Award Academy. That actually has a lot of things going for it, uh, which is literally his flat screen TV,
The tragic
his
fall of the cherry
entertainment,
blossom is life.
his entertainment stand, and many,
Fine, I'll
many, many items that are in his room, such as his art bag, his backpack, his hamper, um, his desk, his desk, and heck, even a lot of the clothes hanger that he has are in fact, his entirety of his wardrobe, as well as shoes, are all in well, in his boxes, of course. Obviously, the TVs are packed in its respectful packaging, obviously. And it was pretty much like that. Difference being that it was by far the most interesting of them all, due to the fact that it had not too many problems, but still nonetheless it was pretty okay. Um, but yeah, more than likely is by far the interesting thing of them all is the fact that literally,
Victory will not come easily. It must be
that
sought.
literally his library of games are are on are in one box, and more likely he pushes every single box into his room, unpackages it, um, but before you even start unpacking a lot of the stuff that he's about to unpack, um, let's see, Mina actually knocks on his door. Zach says, "Yes." Oh, you're that. Oh, yeah, that one girl that mistaken her room for literally the two rooms that are literally like right next to each other. It's like, okay, it's not my fault. It's not my fault that they're basically the same things. Like 1086 and 1087 are totally different things. Uh, it's like, whatever. Anyways, the headmaster asks us to actually decides to actually, well, he should be on his way, and more than likely, um, Yeah, basically it was pretty subpar of how things actually went with
Victory will not come
um
easily. It must
not
be
subpar,
sought.
but it was possibly the most entertaining that he has been uh, in its entirety of his school life, basically. Um, but yeah, well, literally, Zach was in his regular outfits. Mina, the fact that she
Show respect for the
was
fallen who fought so
like that.
bravely.
Not only that, here's the thing. Uh, for the most part, Mina is actually younger than Zach. Being the fact that she's 15 and Zach is 16. And not to mention, she has both ways to actually get in. But she decided to actually have her being sought out the sought after by the headmaster. So that way, she doesn't have to live in the bougiest rich life that she actually has going for. And then right after that, um, they were given a tour. Instead of going to the school, they're going to the they go to their let's see, yeah, he actually took them to the Mega Mall as well as the mall the mall strip, and last but not least, takes him to a tour of the school, and he's like, yes, this is where you're going to be doing all your studying as well as your combat capabilities. And then Zach is like, wait a minute, combat? Like, hold on, so we're like fighting? And it's like, oh jeez, I already had enough of that mess in that's my last school. I don't need another traumatic event. It's like, don't worry, we're not going to do fist fighting. Oh good God, you're gonna be fighting with weapons. That makes it even worse, Headmaster. What the heck kind of school is this? Like, well, you do know what the abbreviation of where the award award is, right? Okay, let me see. From what I recall, the A stands for Academy, W stands for, oh jeez, I should have known that. Okay. The Academy of Weapons and Regal Deities. Wait, Deities? Wait. Are you talking about that one? Are you talking about that one being that it's in my head, just talking to me when I was asleep? That would be the one. Like, well, then again, it looked like someone with a jackal head with a scythe and a bunch of really red bandages. And apparently toned for some reason. Toned dating. What the heck is wrong with you, Mina? Oh, no, it's nothing. It's nothing. Okay, so what's yours? Oh, you didn't know? It's, Skahak. Who? The the Scottish teacher that actually taught Cuchulainn. I'm sorry, did you just say Cuchulainn? Wait, Cuchulainn's teacher? Mm-hmm. And what's yours? Alright, might as well call him out here since you wanted me so badly. He pulls out a pouch of sand that he was on his field trip on his trip to Egypt back when he was a child, and actually just throws it to throws the bag of sand right next to right next to the principal, and poof, poof. All they see is a 6'7", a 6'7" tall man with a jackal's head, a scythe on both sides of his hands, and I see. It wasn't that. It was the fact that he was like holding them. It was literally just like these two sights are literally like sheathed and literally pops out and hits already salty because of how freaking tall he is. Um, and in terms of what Newell's response was, he says, "You could have told me that we're gonna be sitting in the car, you moron." And he didn't know that he actually was within that he was all was among with three other people that can actually see him, which is which is the vice chairman, his neighbor, and the headmaster himself. And he's wondering, wait, hold on. So you tell me the reason why you brought me out here, out of my own napping, is to meet, huh? So you're Odin's handler, and Zach got confused. Like, wait a minute, hold on. Did you just say? Wait, hold on. Did you just say Odin? Wait, like Odin, Odin, the father of the gods. It's like, yes, yes, I did. Hmm. And then looks at Mina and says, "So you're Skalax master. All right. Why'd you bring her out? Do you have at least is that something that you can actually use?" Hmm. And then, in her purse is a Scottish mushroom, and just places it down, and well, and more likely an exo knife, and pokes her finger with it, and drops it to the mushroom, and poof, Skahak arrived, and she yelled at her, and she yelled at her like, "How dare you actually side me without my consent?" And oh, you must see you must see a new one. Who is you? It's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Is she Scottish? Hammer says yes, yes, she is. Either right, Skahak. Skahak actually is wondering why in the world does he smell like a rich kid, and due to the fact that he still wondering, it's like, okay, hold on, how in the world can she smell the bushiness coming from me? When in actuality, I'm literally middle class. It's like middle class, eh? So, so middle class, huh? So for the most part, is by far the most entertaining that Skylark has been in a very, very long while. But but yeah, also Skyhack looks at Anubis and wondering how in the world are you able to fit in this car? Like, don't ask me, ask the guy that summoned me in the first place. He's the one that summoned me. And not to mention, the Vice Chairman 16, actually pulls actually pulls out a raven's it pulls out a raven's feather, a crow's feather, and a flower, and axes, and more likely hat, gives and most likely pulls out pulls out a really fancy dagger, pokes the grabs the blade, and starts to squeeze the blade, and poof, a Greek the Greek goddess the Greek goddess of of animal and plant was it yeah of plant life, Hera, or basically Zeus's wife, Hera, and and more than likely, Zack and Mina actually kind of freaked out a moment because in terms of the according to the legend, Hera was feared by many, as in we more likely they were wondering, dear God, hopefully Zeus isn't around. Hopefully Zeus is not around because that is the last thing they wanted to do. And for the most part, uh, they have because more likely in terms of Greek mythology, it is one of two things. Either gonna be haunted by Hera for actually sleeping with Zeus, or literally or having the fear of Zeus because you never know who is because he never know who is who. And yeah, long story short, it was pretty often of how things would have been, even if it was even if it was that moment in time where it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting to say the least. But yeah, but yeah. Anyways, Hera greets herself, and yeah, everyone in that car is terrified. Like, and 16's like, what's wrong? And it's like, do you know who that? Is she your deity? Oh jeez, oh no, no. It's like, wait a minute. Like, hold on, 16. She's your deity? And she says, yes. Yes, she is. Why ask? I was like, do you know? And I mean, do you know what she's capable of? And she's like, yes. Yes, she is. In fact, I know all about the history of Hera. Don't worry, she's tamed. It's like, okay, good. Alright. Well, for the most part, we can't summon Odin because summon anymore, and we're probably because here's the thing, we're already scoring this Lincoln Continental to absolutely no end. So let's desummon them. It's like, oh, okay. So more than likely, um, more than likely, the Headmaster tosses the bag of sand back to Zack, puts it in his pocket, and and the and Anubis disappears. Which, keep in mind, he was literally uh, slouching, and he was like it squatted a lot less. Then, and then for the most part, for the most part, um, Mina decided to grab the mushroom that was in her purse, and Skyhawk disappears. And last but certainly not least, um, and also puts a bandage on her finger. On the other hand, 16 actually wrap, actually puts away the two feathers and the flower, and wraps her hand in bandages and puts gauze onto it, and Hera disappears. And on the way, they were given the tour. They actually got used to the place now, and last certain not least, the headmaster dropped Mina and Zack off at the dormitory, and then went to their own rooms Zach finished unpacking and was really tired for the day, and he goes to sleep for the first day at school. Alright, let's see how we end timing. Okay. Anyway, that'll be it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed so far. Um, Leave a like, subscribe, comment down below what you see next. If you had not watched the latest Let's Play, um, watch the episode of Goddrifter 3, and if you're wondering what the new Let's Play is Mortal Kombat X. Um, and that is the part where I literally broke a lot of people's jaws and noses as well, and break their jaws again. And last but not least, if you have not checked out my latest live stream, it is on Gran Turismo Sport, where I almost lost all my brain cells just for how dumb it was. And it was like, oh jeez, please, please don't, please. Without any further ado, hope you guys have a dope Sunday. This is Goddrifter247sun signed off, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.